Hi yogis, welcome to week 7, day 1 of our Build Balance Momentum program. Feel free to grab a couple blocks or a yoga towel or blanket today. Our yoga posture of the day will be frog pose, so a really awesome hip opening stretch that feels really good. So we're going to get started today in easy seated posture, so gently close your eyes if you'd like. Rest your hands on your knees, or you can bring them to your abdomen and maybe even your chest to just observe your breath and reconnect yourself. As always, we want to be breathing more with our abdomen than with our chest because our chest is a little more shallow. We take a little more shallow breaths, so you really want to feel your abdomen swelling with air on every inhale. Your chest will rise slightly, but your abdomen will be rising as well. Feel free to open your eyes at this time and gently rest your left hand on the mat as you inhale your right hand up and overhead. Breathe through this posture and release, gently guiding the right hand towards the mat and inhaling that left arm up and over. Keeping those sit bones on the mat, we're just going to continue with this for a few rounds. Exhaling as you reach up and over, feeling yourself sink into the stretch. Now maybe rocking your neck back and forth, feeling yourself stretching over to the other side, rocking your neck, allowing any tension to release out of those neck muscles. And let's return to sitting now. And bring our knees nice and wide, and we're going to drop them over to the left side. So we're going to try to form a 90-degree angle with one leg and then the other leg, and then also in between the legs. And we're going to kind of angle our torso towards our left leg, and we're going to hinge at the waist and just sink forward. You should feel the stretch in your glute muscle. And we're just sinking forward until we feel that stretch. Nice gentle pull on those muscles. We're going to breathe through this stretch. We're just really opening and awakening our hips. You can inhale back up. Then we'll sit back on our sit bones just a bit. Then we're going to massage kind of like just to the outside of our hip. This is called our tensor fascia latae, and that can get a little tight. So we're just going to massage it out. Wherever you feel a nice little tender spot, there is where you'll massage. So kind of feel around till you feel it. And it'll feel really good to massage it. Now let's help lift our knees up and over and bring them over to the other side. Again, checking that you're forming a 90-degree angle with your legs. We're going to turn our torso towards that leg, and we're going to just bend forward, gently releasing into the stretch. Allowing your chest to hang lower, lengthening through the spine, feeling the gentle pull in the glute muscles. And when you're ready, you can sit back up, and then use your hands to help guide your hips down towards the mat. And again, massage the outer edge of your left hip. Feel that tender spot, and just kind of use your fingers to massage it out nicely. Nothing too intense, but you'll notice it feels good. Now feel free to help your knees back up at this time. And we're going to grab our left leg with our right and left arm, and we're going to place our right elbow just under our left ankle and use that to kind of support it and bring it up so your shin is parallel with the ground. And we're going to flex that foot. So pull those toes in like you're pulling them towards your shin. And pull that leg towards your body. Maybe you rock it back and forth. Just getting a nice gentle stretch here. So do what feels good. You can hold it, maybe give it a couple rocks. And just breathe. And then slowly release it down. Then grab your other leg. Use your left elbow to support your right ankle. Flex those toes and pull that knee in towards your torso. Find what feels comfortable. Maybe you use your other knee to kind of support your arm. Just gentle rocks back and forth, opening up that hip. We really want our hips nice and open for frog pose, so this is a great stretch. Okay, we can release that now, and let's come into a tabletop posture. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, neutral spine. We're going to do some gentle cat-cows. So we're going to inhale as we drop our chest towards the mat, and exhale, round through the back of the back as we tuck our chin in towards our chest. Inhale into cow pose. Exhale into cat pose, round and puff, puff, puff. Inhale. Feeling your spine awake. Exhale into cat. Let's come into a neutral tabletop. And we're going to lift that left knee up and over, and we're going to do some just gentle hip rolls. So we're going to pull it out and around and then back, gently rolling out the hip socket, whatever feels good. You can see I'm bringing it forward, out, and then back. And then down, and then switching that direction and going back, out, and forward again. Feel free to do whatever motion feels good for you. Trying not to dump into the low back too much. Now extend that left leg out to the side and sink your sit bones back until you feel a deep stretch through that hamstring muscle. And then release back up. And once more, exhaling as you lower down, trying to keep that foot flat on the mat. Hold, deep inhale, back up. Exhale, sink down, feel it through the hip, through the hamstring, and then back up. Now let's bend that left knee and sink our hips down towards the ground, towards the left side. And then rise back up, and then sink our butt down towards our sit bones once again. Inhale, rise up, bending that knee now. Breathe, inhale. Straighten that knee as you exhale and sink towards your right heel. Inhale, rise up, bending that front knee. And holding here a moment. Maybe you gently bind your left arm in between under your thigh and around to your lower back as you open up to the right side. And if this is too uncomfortable, you can simply rest it on the mat under your leg or stay in the position without binding. And release back down now. Let's come back and set that leg back, and we're going to enter into downward facing dog. Pedal out those legs as you need to. Really breathe life into your body and into your spine. Now let's exhale that leg up and back, bend that knee. And let's open up the hips. Really open up that left hip. Allowing it to dangle, pulling that heel towards your glute muscle. Just breathing here. And now let's see if we can tent our left fingers and come up into a side plank using that left arm to guide that left knee open. If this is too intense for you, you can stay in that regular downward facing dog. Otherwise, just hold that knee open if you can. And then see if you can slowly bring that leg up to join your hands at the front of the mat. We're going to come into a runner's lunge, and notice just rock back and forth, allowing your hips to sink into this stretch. So keeping that back knee lifted. You can always drop it if this is too intense of a stretch for you. And if you want a little more stretch, you can even take your left hand and open up that left knee, really open. Try not to put too much pressure on your right wrist. Okay, and you can place your hands back on the mat now and gently guide that left knee towards the mat, dropping your shin towards the mat, kind of angling it outward, pointing those toes, and squaring those hips to the front of the mat. This is what we call pigeon pose, something we'll get to later on in the week. But we're going to inhale up and then exhale, see if we can drop into almost like a forward fold, bringing our forearms to the mat. You can use your block to put your forearms on if you'd like at this time. Otherwise, we're just going to rest into the mat. Think about turning that outer hip or that back hip so it's kind of pressing into the mat and turning that thigh almost inward to keep those hips square. Now see if you can tense your fingertips. We're just going to do some spinal rolls up, so like a pigeon cobra almost. So inhale, rise, exhale, forward fold. That's what we call a funky cobra. Inhale, rise up, let your head hang heavy until the top. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale. Hanging at the top. Maybe you gently rock your forehead back and forth, or you can simply rest here now. Sinking deeper along your hips to release. And then rise back up if you're feeling ready. Bring that knee in towards your chest, and then come back into that tabletop posture. I'm just going to switch directions so you can kind of see my other side. So get into that nice tabletop posture. Bring that knee out towards your elbow, out and then back, dropping it, tap it to your elbow, bring it back, out, then back down. Tap that elbow, bring it out and around, and then back down. And just moving through that hip joint, opening it up. Like I said, whatever feels good for you. Trying not to dump into that lumbar spine. Keeping that nice, strong, sturdy spine. And just breathing through your movements. And now let's bring that leg out to the side. As you exhale your sit bones toward your left heel, we're going to kind of sink forward. And then we're going to inhale back up. Exhale. Sink forward, keeping that right foot flat on the ground. Inhale, round yourself up. Exhale, fold into the mat. Inhale, rise up. This time bending that right knee, sinking those hips down, and then exhaling as you straighten that knee and bend those hips. Inhale, bend that knee. Exhale, sink those hips down towards your left heel. Maybe you bind your right arm behind your back now, binding it through your leg, opening up to the left side, feeling that nice stretch. Breathe through the posture. And release. Bringing the hands towards the mat, sinking back once more. Then coming up on your toes and entering into downward facing dog again. Spine long. Let's inhale that right leg up and back, bending that knee, dropping that heel towards your glutes and opening up through that hip. We're going to hold here, and you're welcome to stay in this position and just holding it open, or you're welcome to join me in that nice side plank. So inhale your right arm up and over, kind of grabbing your knee, using it to help guide your hip open. It's okay if you fall, lose balance. I do it all the time. Exhale, let's lower that leg now, bringing it to join your hands and coming into that runner's lunge. Lengthen through the spine as you pull your chest towards the front of your mat. And just rocking back and forth, feeling those hips release open. Maybe you guide your hip open with your left arm, pushing that knee out to the side and just breathing, just a gentle stretch. And then release back down. Drop that right knee now towards the mat as we come into our pigeon pose again. So kind of angle your shin out just a bit, point those toes, square those hips to the mat, and gently release into a forward fold onto your forearms. You can even go all the way down if you need a deeper stretch. Just breathe life into your hips. Beautiful. Let's inhale. Tenting those fingers, and let's rise up. Exhale, fold forward. Those funky cobras. Inhale, head hangs heavy until the very top. Exhale. Inhale. Now release your hands and just gently hang here. Relaxing. Releasing. Let's gently come back up now at this time. And bring your legs out wide. We're going to enter into our frog pose. So bring your knees towards the outer edge of your mat and sink your chest towards the mat. Right now, this is just like a wide-legged child's pose. I kind of tented my fingers here, but you can leave them flat on the mat. And just release your glutes to your heels. Just giving another stretch before our posture. Welcome you to rise up at this time, and I'm going to grab my blanket or my yoga towel, and I'm going to put it under my knees because I have a little sensitive knees where it kind of bothers me to have that much pressure on them. So you're welcome to do the same. You can roll up your mat a little bit, or grab a towel or a blanket and just put them under your knees and open them nice and wide, this time a little wider than your mat if you can. And we're just going to sink ourselves down, walk our body forward, come onto our forearms, and allow our hips to release into the mat. We don't want our hips too far forward or too far back in frog pose. We kind of want them just in line with our knees if we can. It's okay to have them a little forward as we're learning, or a little back, but we don't want it too crazy intense. If you want to grab a block to place under your groin area, you can. That kind of helps with the pressure, the downward pressure of your spine, the weight of your spine. So feel free to place one under you if you think that'll help. You might need two, depending on how low you are. We're just going to hold and breathe. Releasing. If this is too uncomfortable, you can rest in child's pose. It's a very intense stretch, so take your time with this one. This is a great prep for wide leg splits. Just allow your body weight to help sink you a little bit closer to the mat on every exhale. Now when you're ready, you can kind of bring your knees in and release yourself out of the posture. Let's just come onto our bellies at this time. We're going to inhale into upward facing dog, opening up through the chest, pushing the mat away. And then exhale, let's sink down into child's pose. Maybe rocking your hips back and forth, giving them some love, maybe dropping them over to the right side. And then dropping them over to the left side. Over to the right side. Just allowing them to drop off your heels. And then over to the left side. We're going to inhale our spine long. Let's bring that left arm under the body, threading it through over to the right side as we drop our left shoulder to the mat. Keeping our right arm extended overhead, we're just going to breathe through this stretch. Nice spinal twist. We're going to release now. Let's bring our right arm, threading it under that left arm, over, dropping our right shoulder to the mat, and extending our left arm overhead. And release. We're going to come onto our backs at this time. Feel free to grab your knees and tuck them tightly to your chest. Give yourself a nice spinal rock. Maybe straighten out your legs and then bend them, gently flossing the nerves in the back of the legs, flexing those toes at the top. And just gently moving through this posture. Now gently release your legs and let's prepare our bodies for Shavasana. Relaxing our arms down at our sides, relaxing our legs, and just letting the entire body hang heavy. If you find your mind wandering to today's tasks or to something that's been on your mind, simply recognize that your mind is wandering and gently guide it back to your breath. Allow your mind to be still and one with your breath and breathing.